everyone, welcome back. If you're new here, my name's Nina. I'm a life transformation coach, and lately I've been answering a lot of questions that you guys have been sending in, which I definitely enjoy. But today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different because I keep seeing something specific come up for a lot of people, and I think it really is a misconception that holds so many people back, and that is that clinging to an outdated version of ourselves is not the same thing as being authentic. So what is it that I mean by that? Well, a lot of times in our childhood or even in our teen years, we start to develop a lot of limitations. We place a lot of limitations on ourselves and we make all kinds of mental rules. And a lot of the times they are designed simply to keep us from embarrassment. That becomes very, very important at that age. And so we kind of judge what else is going on in the world and we see how we fit into that, and we really find these safe boundaries that we kind of stick inside because we feel that if we can just do these certain things, then we're going to gain approval, then we're going to be liked or loved. And so we set these limitations, and then as adults, without realizing it, we kind of still cling to these same things and we don't really question them. And with time, it really starts to seem like that is our authentic self. So we really confuse these limitations on what we think that we can do with who we are as a person, which is actually very, very different. Who we are has nothing to do really with what we are capable of learning or doing in our life. But we start to create these labels for ourselves that we get really attached to, like we are shy, or we're not good with technology, or we're not good at public speaking. And it's not that these things are even reality. These are just boundaries that we have decided that we're not going to test. These are limitations that we set for ourselves. So it's not that we really can't learn to work with technology or that we couldn't become a good public speaker. It's just that we have labeled ourselves as someone who isn't good at these things. So we are never pushing these boundaries, and we start to again believe this is who we are as a person. So without realizing it, we're really sticking to an image that we created for ourselves when we were like 12 years old, instead of allowing ourselves to grow and evolve because we think we are being our true self and we think we are expressing who we really are, but really we're just expressing what we believe to be our limitations. And this is something that I definitely noticed in my own life. So before I was a life coach, I had a whole nother career as a professional dancer. I started dancing when I was very young, and then I went to college the first time for dance. So after I finished college, I went and I became an equity dancer for Walt Disney World, which I really, really enjoyed. But with time, I realized that I wanted to teach dance. I wanted to open a dance studio of my own. But I realized that I had absolutely no business experience. I had no idea how to be a manager or to buy a building or to figure out any of these technical things that would all come along with this territory. And so I had a lot of fear. And I really did not believe that I could do any of these things. I had labeled myself as a creative person. I had labeled myself just as a dancer. So eventually I really sat myself down and I thought to myself, is this what I really want to do? And I realized in my heart that absolutely this is what I wanted to do. And when I really thought about it, I understood that everything is figure-outable. There is no reason that I couldn't learn to do these things. I was just placing these limitations on myself. And once I realized that, I was able to go forward and I learned all of these skills. I was able to open the dance studio, and it ended up being a business that thrived for years and years and years. And I ended up really excelling in those areas that I really was so fearful of. So it wasn't that I couldn't do those things. It wasn't that, not being a good manager or not being a good studio owner was part of my authentic self. It was just part of the label and the boundaries that I had placed on myself. And when I finally made that realization, I was able to break through that boundary and I was able to achieve my dreams. And the same thing happened when I decided to go back to school for psychology and to be a life coach. I could have also said to myself that I wouldn't be able to do this because now I was a studio owner and I had a new identity. But I realized also that I can always evolve, I can always learn. And that is the point that I want to get across to you today. That so many of the times that we believe we can't do something, it's simply because we are going by those mental rules and those limitations that we set for ourselves so long ago. Our life can't be about being afraid to fail or being afraid to be embarrassed in front of other people. It really can't be about that. But when we're younger, that's really all we think about. So as adults, we need to learn to question these things and to understand that if one person can do something, there's no reason that we couldn't also do these things. The truth really is in life that we rise to the occasion. We just have to be able to give ourselves an occasion to rise to. We need to allow ourselves to dream and to expand as people. We need to constantly be evolving. Again, our evolving in life just has to do with what we can learn and what we can become. It doesn't have to be about changing who we are in our hearts as a person. That has nothing to do with that at all. So we can't confuse the two. We can't confuse what we choose to do and who we truly are. So just be careful that you aren't labeling yourself and limiting yourself. And today I really invite you to stop and think about all the different labels you have put on yourself and really question these labels and these boundaries that you put on yourself and ask yourself, where did they come from? Maybe it's time to start questioning those labels, because if those labels are holding you back from being or doing anything at all that you actually want to do, then it's time that you really start removing all these limitations, because they don't need to be there. We're no longer in junior high school. We no longer have to be afraid of embarrassment. So definitely let me know in the comments below if you feel that your own self-concept is ready for an update. I think it's so important that we have these talks with ourselves from time to time, because that's when we can see where our limitations really are, and we can really kind of check in and make sure that we're not sinking too far into the comfort zone. Because when we are in the comfort zone, we know we are not truly growing or expanding or living our best life. So I thank you so much for spending time with me today and for sending in these amazing questions. Even though today's video wasn't based on a specific question, it was inspired by a lot of questions that I've been getting recently. So thank you so much for that. If you aren't already connected, please become a subscriber. We definitely want you to be part of our family. And I look forward to talking to you guys next time. Have an amazing day, and I will see you soon.